Listen, I need you to understand something that's happening right now in the precious metals market. Not next week, not next month, right now. And if you're sitting on the sidelines thinking you have time, you're about to learn a very expensive lesson. The physical gold and silver supply situation has reached a critical breaking point. We're not talking about paper contracts or ETF shares. We're talking about actual metal you can hold in your hand, and it's disappearing faster than most people realize. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening behind the scenes. The United States Mint just announced they're rationing silver eagles. Think about that for a second. The official mint of the United States government is telling dealers they can't have as many coins as they want to buy. When was the last time you heard about the government rationing anything? This isn't some third world country dealing with hyperinflation. This is America. But here's where it gets really interesting. The rationing isn't because they don't want to sell more coins. It's because they physically cannot produce enough silver to meet demand. The mint is running at maximum capacity, and they still can't keep up. Now ask yourself, what does that tell you about what's coming? The premiums on physical silver have exploded. We're seeing premiums of $8 to $12 over spot price for basic silver eagles. Some dealers are charging even more. A few months ago, those same coins were trading at $3 to $4 over spot. That's a tripling of the premium in a matter of months. And you know what? People are still buying at these prices because they understand something fundamental is shifting. I was talking to a dealer in Texas last week who's been in this business for 37 years. He told me he's never seen anything like this. Not in 2008, not in 2011, not even in 1980 when silver hit $50 an ounce. He said the difference now is that it's not just retail investors buying. It's institutions, family offices, and sovereign wealth funds all trying to secure physical metal at the same time. Here's what most people don't understand about the silver market. Annual silver production is around 880 million ounces. Sounds like a lot, right? But industrial demand alone consumes over 600 million ounces. Solar panels, electronics, medical equipment, water purification, electric vehicles. Silver is absolutely critical to modern technology, and that demand is only growing. Then you have investment demand on top of that. Silver eagles, maple leafs, bars, rounds. Add in jewelry and silverware. The math doesn't work. We're running a structural deficit in the silver market, and it's been going on for years. The only reason prices haven't exploded yet is because of above-ground stockpiles and recycling. But those stockpiles are being drawn down rapidly. The COMEX silver inventories tell a fascinating story. Registered silver, the metal that's actually available for delivery, has dropped to dangerously low levels. We're talking about roughly 30 million ounces of registered silver backing a paper market that trades hundreds of millions of ounces every single day. It's a house of cards, and more people are starting to figure that out. Gold is facing similar dynamics, just on a different scale. Central banks bought over 1,000 tons of gold last year. That's the highest level of central bank buying in over 50 years. And they're not slowing down. China, Russia, India, Turkey, Poland. Countries all over the world are converting their dollar reserves into physical gold as fast as they can. Why? Because they see what's coming. The dollar's dominance as the global reserve currency is being challenged in ways we haven't seen since Bretton Woods collapsed in 1971. The BRICS nations are actively working on alternative payment systems. Saudi Arabia is now accepting yuan for oil sales. The world is slowly, methodically moving away from dollar dependence. And what does that mean for you? It means the dollars in your bank account, in your retirement accounts, in your savings, are going to buy less and less as this transition accelerates. The purchasing power erosion we've seen over the past few years is just the beginning. Let me tell you about something that happened in 2011 that most people have forgotten. Silver went from $18 an ounce in September 2010 to $49 an ounce by April 2011. That's a 172% gain in 7 months. People who waited, who thought they had time, watched from the sidelines as silver more than doubled. And when they finally decided to buy, they were paying peak prices. But here's the thing. The fundamentals driving silver higher in 2011 were nowhere near as strong as they are today. Back then, we didn't have the massive industrial demand from solar and electric vehicles. We didn't have central banks buying gold at record levels. We didn't have a coordinated global effort to move away from the dollar. The setup now is exponentially more powerful. I want you to think about your retirement for a moment. If you've got $100,000 or more sitting in traditional retirement accounts, you need to understand something. Those accounts are denominated in dollars. And as the dollar loses purchasing power, your retirement savings lose value right along with it. It doesn't matter if your account statement shows the same number. What matters is what that number can actually buy. Quick aside here, because this is important. I put together a comprehensive guide on how gold IRAs actually work. It's completely free, and you'll find it in the description below. It walks you through exactly how you can get physical gold into your retirement account without triggering tax penalties or early withdrawal fees. If you're sitting on 6 figures or more in retirement savings, it's worth 5 minutes of your time to understand this option. The guide covers everything: the rollover process, the custodians, the storage, all of it. All right, back to what's happening in the market right now. The supply crunch isn't just affecting retail investors. Major refineries are reporting delays. Delivery times that used to be 2 to 3 weeks are now stretching to 6 to 8 weeks. Some products are on back order with no clear delivery date at all. And here's where it gets really concerning. The disconnect between paper prices and physical availability is growing wider. You can look at the spot price on your screen and think silver is cheap at $23 an ounce, but try to actually buy physical silver at that price. You can't. You're paying $30 to $35 all in after premiums and shipping. That spread is telling you something crucial. The paper market and the physical market are starting to decouple. This happened in a small way during the pandemic. Remember when silver was trading at $15 on the COMEX, but you couldn't buy a silver eagle for less than $30? That was a preview, a warning shot. The market is telling you that paper promises and physical metal are not the same thing. The smart money figured this out a long time ago. Ray Dalio has been vocal about holding gold. Stanley Druckenmiller increased his gold position significantly. Paul Tudor Jones has called gold and Bitcoin the best inflation hedges. These aren't conspiracy theorists or gold bugs. These are some of the most successful investors in history, and they're allocating serious capital to precious metals. But it's not just billionaire hedge fund managers. It's regular people who understand what's happening. I hear stories every day from people who are converting a portion of their savings into physical metal. A retired teacher in Ohio who moved 20% of her IRA into gold. A small business owner in Florida who's been buying silver every month for the past 2 years. A young couple in Colorado who decided to hold precious metals instead of keeping all their savings in a bank account earning 0.5% interest. These people aren't trying to get rich quick. They're trying to preserve what they've already earned. They understand that in an environment of currency debasement and financial instability, holding real assets is the most rational thing you can do. Let's talk about what happens when supply really runs out. We've seen this movie before in other commodities. Remember the toilet paper shortage in 2020? People weren't hoarding toilet paper because they thought it would make them rich. They were hoarding it because they were afraid they wouldn't be able to get it when they needed it. Fear of scarcity creates actual scarcity. Now imagine that dynamic playing out in precious metals. When the average person realizes that physical gold and silver are becoming hard to obtain, what do you think happens? Panic buying. And unlike toilet paper, you can't just ramp up production of gold and silver overnight. It takes years to bring new mines online. The supply is what it is. The mining industry is facing its own set of challenges. Ore grades are declining. The easy-to-access deposits have already been mined. New discoveries are rare and expensive to develop. Environmental regulations are getting stricter. Energy costs are rising. All of this means that even if gold and silver prices go significantly higher, we're not going to see a massive surge in new supply. And then there's the recycling side. A lot of the above-ground silver that could be recycled is locked up in industrial applications. It's in solar panels on roofs, in electronics in landfills, in medical devices. The economics of recovering that silver don't make sense at current prices. Even if silver doubled, most of that industrial silver wouldn't come back to market. So, we have declining mine production, limited recycling, and surging demand from both industrial users and investors. This is the classic setup for a supply squeeze. And when supply squeezes happen in commodities, prices don't just go up gradually, they spike violently. Look at what happened with palladium a few years ago. It went from $600 an ounce to over $3,000 in less than 4 years. Why? Supply deficit. Industrial demand from auto catalysts exceeded available supply, and the price had to rise to ration the limited metal available. Silver could do something similar. The industrial demand is there. The investment demand is building. The supply is constrained. All the pieces are in place. The only question is timing. And that's where the current supply situation becomes so critical. When dealers are rationing product, when premiums are at multi-year highs, when delivery times are stretching out, these are all signs that we're approaching an inflection point. The market is sending you signals. The question is whether you're paying attention. I want you to think about the regret you'll feel if you wait. Imagine it's 6 months from now. Silver is at $40 an ounce. Gold is at $3,000. Premiums are even higher than they are now. Dealers have waiting lists. And you're kicking yourself because you knew this was coming, but you didn't act. That regret is real. I've talked to countless people who experienced it in 2011. They watched silver climb from $20 to $30 to $40, and they kept thinking it would pull back. They kept waiting for a better entry point. And then it peaked and corrected, and they never got the position they wanted at prices they were comfortable with. The time to act is when you have the opportunity, not when you feel forced to. Right now, you can still buy physical metal. It might cost you more than it did a few months ago, but it's available. That availability is not guaranteed to last. Think about the geopolitical situation for a moment. We're living through the most significant realignment of global power structures since World War II. The unipolar world dominated by the United States is giving way to a multipolar world where multiple power centers compete for influence. And in that transition, hard assets become increasingly important. Gold has been money for 5,000 years. It survived the fall of empires, the collapse of currencies, wars, revolutions, and every financial crisis in human history. When paper currencies fail, people return to gold. It's happened over and over again throughout history. The Roman denarius, the German mark, the Zimbabwean dollar, the Venezuelan bolivar. Every fiat currency eventually fails. The only question is timing. The dollar has been the world's reserve currency for 80 years. That's a long run by historical standards, but nothing lasts forever, and the signs of dollar decline are everywhere if you know where to look. The national debt is over $34 trillion and growing by $1 trillion every 100 days. The Federal Reserve's balance sheet is still massively expanded from years of quantitative easing. Real interest rates are negative when you account for actual inflation. These are not sustainable conditions. Something has to give, and when it does, the people holding real assets will be protected. The people holding paper promises will not. Silver has an additional advantage that gold doesn't have. It's affordable for regular people. You can buy an ounce of silver for around $35 right now. That's accessible. You don't need to be wealthy to start building a position in silver. A few $100s a month, consistently over time, can build a meaningful stack. And unlike stocks or bonds or real estate, you can hold silver in your hand. There's no counterparty risk. You're not depending on a company's management or a government's promises or a bank's solvency. It's yours, completely and totally. That peace of mind is worth something in an increasingly uncertain world. I've seen people transform their financial security by making precious metals a core part of their wealth preservation strategy. Not their entire portfolio, but a meaningful allocation. 20%, 30%. Enough that if the financial system experiences serious stress, they have a foundation of real wealth that can't be inflated away or confiscated or devalued by central bank policy. The wealthy have always understood this. Old money families hold gold, not because they're paranoid, because they've seen what happens over generations. They've watched currencies come and go. They've seen governments rise and fall. And they know that gold endures. You have the same opportunity they do, the same ability to protect your wealth with physical precious metals. The only difference is they've been doing it for generations, and you're just starting now. But that's okay. Better late than never. The important thing is that you start. The supply situation is not going to improve. If anything, it's going to get worse. More people are waking up to what's happening. More institutions are trying to secure physical metal. More countries are buying gold for their reserves. The competition for limited supply is intensifying. And here's the thing about supply squeezes. They happen slowly, then all at once. For months or even years, you see the warning signs building, inventories declining, premiums rising, delivery delays lengthening, and then suddenly, seemingly overnight, the market breaks. Prices gap higher. Product becomes unavailable at any price, and everyone who was waiting wishes they had acted sooner. We're in the warning sign phase right now. The smart move is to act while you still can, not with money you need for bills or emergencies, but with capital you've set aside for wealth preservation, money that you want to protect from inflation and currency debasement and financial system risk. Start small if you need to. Buy a few ounces of silver. See how it feels to hold real money in your hand. Understand the difference between a number on a screen and actual physical wealth. Then build from there, consistently, methodically, without trying to time every little price movement. Because here's the truth. Whether silver is at $23 or $28 doesn't matter much if it's going to 50 or 75 or 100. The people who succeed in precious metals are the ones who accumulate over time and hold for the long term. They're not traders trying to flip for quick profits. They're wealth preservers building a foundation of real assets. The next few months are going to be critical. We're heading into a period where the supply constraints are going to become impossible to ignore. When the mainstream media starts reporting on precious metal shortages, it will be too late to get in at reasonable prices. The herd will have already moved. You have a choice to make. You can wait and hope that everything works out fine, that the supply situation improves, that prices come down, that you'll have plenty of time to buy later at better prices. Or you can acknowledge reality. Supply is tight and getting tighter. Demand is strong and getting stronger. Prices are likely to move significantly higher. And the time to act is now, while you still have the opportunity. I can't make this decision for you. But I can tell you that the people who act decisively in moments like this are the ones who look back with satisfaction. The ones who wait are the ones who look back with regret. Which one do you want to be? The supply is disappearing. The warning signs are flashing. The opportunity is in front of you. Don't wait another day to stack. Because the day you decide to act might be the day that physical metal is no longer available at any price you're willing to pay. And that's a risk you don't want to take with your financial future.